Jet fans are overreacting. Stop me if you've heard this one before. That is the topic of conversation today. Before we get started, Matt O'Leary NY on social media, and don't forget about the Just Jets podcast. But honestly, more importantly than that, this week is the Hall of Fame game, the Hall of Fame induction. If you're going out to Canton, Ohio, make sure to come hang out with myself. You also got Jake Asman. You also got Boy Green on Friday night. Here's all the information if you're going. Hope to see you out there. So yesterday we got a weird quote, not necessarily weird quote. I should walk that back a second. It was more Connor Hughes was talking about how Robert Saleh strongly implied that you are not going to see Joe Tippmann be the starter at the center position this year, which again, what I said yesterday was it's still early. A lot could change in the next month. And number two is it's not the most surprising thing in the world. While yes, I thought that he would have a chance and a very good chance to be the starter at the center position. Connor McGovern bringing him back was the insurance policy. And frankly, we've seen the Jets favor veterans in some spots more so than others. And I think this is one of those instances. The unfortunate part was the then overreaction from a portion of the fan base. Not all, but you had so many people, a lot, unfortunately, saying that Joe Tippmann was a terrible pick. They should not have drafted him in the second round. They should have taken John Michael Schmitz. And that discourse in July, now August 1st, before either of them has played a game in the NFL. Neither one of those guys has played a single snap of regular season football. There are already declarative statements that either one, Joe Tippmann's a bust. Number two, it was a bad pick. Number three, John Michael Schmitz is better. What are we doing here, guys? We should be better as a fan base. That might be on me for expecting more out of this fan base, but I'm sorry. I hold Jet fans to a high standard because I thought we were smarter than this. I thought that fans would be able to realize that, hey, kid's a rookie making a transition at an incredibly difficult position, by the way. Center is one of the hardest positions on the offensive line, and sure, left tackle gets probably the biggest eyeballs on or the most looks on because their job is protecting the blind side of the quarterback. But center, they're the guy in charge. They're pointing out the protections. They have a lot of responsibility, and making the jump from college to the pros is a big deal. And also, by the way, nobody mentions this in the process. John Michael Schmitz is 2 years older than Joe Tippmann. And that's not a knock on JMS. I loved JMS. He was my number one center coming out, and I would have been thrilled if the New York Jets drafted JMS. That's not to discredit anything about him. Saying, that's not me declaratively saying that Joe Tippmann for sure is better than John Michael Schmitz. There's no way to know is the point. There is no way to know. And the first inkling of there being a learning curve or that things aren't going 1000% perfectly, people are ready to jump ship. It's ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. I'm sorry that not every single pick is going to be Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner, where they immediately come into the league and are stars. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't. Most of the Jets picks in recent memory, or just, ever show you that it's not. Those two were very clearly an outlier. And same with Breece Hall, throw him in the mix. The guy looked like an absolute stud. The Jets were unfortunately, we were spoiled last year with that draft class, with the three guys coming in and popping right away, that the thought was, okay, well, here they go, do it again. And that's not necessarily fair. And someone that we've talked about a lot this past offseason who went under the radar last year as a first round pick, which seems crazy, is Jermaine Johnson. JJ was the forgotten guy from that draft class. It's something I've said a bunch because of how good Breece Hall was right away, because how good Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner were right away. And that's not to say that JJ was bad. I don't think he was. He made some plays in the run game. He had a couple nice moments as a pass rusher. He didn't play a ton of snaps, but that doesn't mean that he's going to be bad. In fact, it looks like he's taken a step forward and developed a little bit. Sometimes it takes time. And I think we have to keep in mind, too, the age of these guys. With Joe Tippmann specifically Comparing him to JMS isn't necessarily fair because, yes, they both play the same position from the same draft class and they both went to New York teams, but one is 2 years older and a little bit more polished than the other. JMS is more pro ready, I guess, but they liked the upside and the athleticism of Joe Tippmann. What the Jets stylistically want to do in the run game, get open in space in this wide zone scheme that the West Coast offenses like to run, Joe Tippmann getting out in space with his athleticism is exactly what they want. So I get it why they went that way, but to completely overreact on August 1st and July 31st and say that Joe Tippmann was a bad pick, a waste of a pick, they effed up, Joe Douglas messed up, is absolutely insane to me. They haven't played a game yet. I can't stress enough how crazy it is that these statements, declarative statements, are being made after neither one of them has played a game. Crazy. So take a chill pill, relax. We're going to see him in the game coming up this week on Thursday. He's not going to be playing with the starters, so you're not going to see Connor McGovern. You're going to see a lot of Joe Tippmann, which is good, by the way, because he's young. He's trying to make a transition to the next level, and that's the goal, is to develop him. We'll see what he does in game-like situations over the next month, and then maybe we'll have a closer idea. But even still, no, you won't know because they haven't played regular season snaps yet. So just pump the brakes, relax a little bit, and let's not make declarative statements in July about prospects. That's going to do it for me. I'm Matt O'Leary. Subscribe if you're new. I'll catch you next time.